Skier Motley with you for HWA Wrestling Online. 32 days from now is the day we're taping this, Valentine's Day, ironically. The off-season for the Hybrid Wrestling Alliance concludes. We're 32 days away from the beginning of HWA's second season, Spring Breakout 2012, St. Patrick's Day. Let the fight commence. We drink, then we fight, then we drink some more. The big story heading into Spring Breakout is the HWA Championship match signed to Spring Breakout. It is Phoenix versus Houston. And no, we're not talking Suns versus Rockets in the NBA. We're talking HWA champion Brian Phoenix defending his championship for the second time since winning it at Backyard Domination against the number one contender, a man that has come close on a couple of occasions to getting a shot at the HWA title. Now he's on the pinnacle of that doorstep, Mike Houston. The first match in the history of the Hybrid Wrestling Alliance is the first match booked for year number 2. We tried to get a word from both Phoenix and Houston regarding having an in-depth sit-down or stand-up interview for HWA Wrestling Online. We did get word both men have accepted. However, Phoenix, being the co-owner, a busy schedule that he has during the off-season, we'll have to interview him a different time. But with us right now, the number one contender for the HWA Championship. A man that has not held a title in HWA yet. He hopes to change that on March 17th, and obviously one of the fan favorites, one of the main popular stars in HWA, Mike Houston. Mike, glad to see you.
Good to see you too.
So I gotta say here, we got the trampoline and the ladder set up. Is this your training ground?
Yes, I have been preparing myself all winter long for this match. It's been cold, but it's been worth it.
So noticing thumbtacks, if you've been bumping everything, obviously.
As a matter of fact, I have. I train in all kinds of varieties of matches.
It's the Total Eclipse workout. Oh,
Just kidding, just kidding. Gonna have to wait to see that again.
Yeah, no need to injure yourself. No break whatsoever for this man. We got a lot to talk about. This is an in-depth interview. It was 1 month ago, exactly, January 14th, at the Bumpies. You walked into that show, you had kind of had a head cold. You were suffering from some sort of sickness, it did sound like. And at insult to injury, you took a headbutt from Jimmy Jack Daniels, the co-owner of the company. The big buzz in HWA has been, why Jimmy, why? Everyone's been asking that. Jimmy Jack has had no explanation whatsoever other than saying at the Bumpies that 2012 is going to be a chaotic year. He's sold out his fans, attacked Madman and Lotus at the end of their last man standing match. All I got to ask you in that situation, and you've been tag team partners with him on a couple of occasions.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Would you care to speculate what's up with him?
That, I don't know. I'm just as confused as everyone else is. But I just want to say this, Jimmy Jack, if you want a match with me, if you want to take it to the ring and not blindside me and headbutt me at an award show, I will gladly accept, because it's just simple. I don't care how big you are, the bigger they come, the harder they will fall.
Now, most fans who are new to the Hybrid Wrestling Alliance, and we did get a big boom right around the fall season, you were part of the original roster on March 26th of last year's Spring Breakout. You called yourself Marvelous Mike. You were jeered then. Then you left, took 5 months off for personal matters, came back in September on a Saturday Mayhem. We christened you Hardcore Houston, and we still call you to this day, and now you're one of the most popular stars in HWA. What changed in the time that you were off?
What changed was, I thought caring about myself and only worrying about myself would take me straight to the top. That's not the case, because I realized with the fan support, it would make me do things I never thought I could do. And that was a change. It was the fans. Fans telling me they thought I was a great wrestler, but they just wanted me to make that change, and I did. And look where I'm at now, heading into Spring Breakout to possibly win the title.
Yeah, to get your shot with Phoenix in the title wasn't an easy road. Now, you face guys like Bejesus, Chaos, later named Lotus, and a whole bunch of other guys, but it was Kyle Cash that set up the last 2 months, essentially, the last 3 weeks of the HWA year. To get your shot with Phoenix in the title, you had to go through Kyle Cash in what amounted as a #1 contenders match later on in what is now the legendary I Quit match from Total Eclipse. Thumbtack Theater, Flaming Tables. You gave Voodoo and Chaos a run for their money as far as match of the year, which you did win in everybody's opinion, and obviously at the Bumpies, which you did take the Bumpy 4 match of the year with Kyle Cash. But while that match sticks out, I can't get over Backyard Domination, the first encounter you had with Kyle Cash. That was tit for tat, perhaps the best wrestling exhibition of that I've seen in my life in Backyard and professional-wise. Take us through BYD and just kind of, go through the notions here of that match, what your thoughts were, and where that match ranks in your mind as, where it ranks amongst like top 10, top 5 as matches in your career.
Well, it truly was the biggest day of my life. I faced Kyle many occasions, but for him to come into HWA, a place where I had earned my respect back from the fans, and had that classic match with Dimitri, won that match, and for him to come in, give me the GTS, it made it personal. So it was a very personal match. By far our biggest match. I was nervous, and even though I lost, to get the standing ovation at the end of that match was truly an honor. Because, may not have to like Kyle, but he is truly a great wrestler. As far as wrestling goes, I'm going to have to say it. He's better than me. Until I can truly beat him, I'm going to go ahead and say he's better than I am. But when it comes to hardcore, we all know who's better at that game.
Absolutely.
But it was a big day. I won't forget that match. As far as in top 5, I'd have to say that was my best wrestling match ever. So
it's obviously something you must have practiced, growing up with your brother, and to do it at the biggest stage in our company, it's certainly, credit to you. But now you are #1 contender for the HWA title. We're almost 5 weeks away from perhaps the biggest match that you've ever been in. Not the first time you faced Phoenix. Remember last year, Spring Breakout 2011. Phoenix, Houston, Act 1. There was no build-up whatsoever other than it was in a championship tournament match. It was the first match of the quarterfinals. And Phoenix was a mystery opponent that day. No mystery this year. The title's on the line. Is the anticipation for this match greater than it was last year?
Oh yeah, because this year it's for the title. It's not a tournament. It's not a mystery opponent. I'm not Marvelous Mike Houston. I'm Mike Houston. I have the Houston Nation with me going into this one, and I'm sure we're going to get a mixed reaction. So it's going to kind of be hard to base this off of, the fan support. Although, as I said at the Bumpies, I respect Phoenix, but it isn't so much about respect. It's about proving who is better. Who's better now? So I said it's 1 year in the making. A lot can change in 1 year. I certainly have stepped up my game. I know he has. He made me tap out last year, and if he gets me in that crossface this year, I'm not tapping. So, but if I get him in the armbar, I'm not letting go, and I'm not letting up.
Match strategy in big-time championship fights is roughly ignored when it comes to preparation, when it comes to build-up and talk about championship matches, especially in this one. For me, the match could possibly come down to how you or Phoenix can adapt to one another's style, even though it is similar. and with the limitations, there will be disqualifications and countouts, so it will be straightforward wrestling. The key for me will probably be how Phoenix can, if he can, wrestle at your pace, which is balls to the walls quick, I must say. We got that at Backyard Domination and a little bit of Total Eclipse in the hardcore environment. Will that, in your mind, play a factor? Will that be a key in determining whether you win or lose the championship?
Oh yeah, because I plan to go balls to the wall on this. So Phoenix, he's got to keep up with me, or he's going to be left behind in the dirt. And that spring breakout, which was a year ago, he kept up with me pretty good. But as I said, I have stepped my game up. So it's going to be interesting. That's all I have to say.
We talked about Walls of Houston, the stroke, the injector. Houston, we have a problem. A lot of maneuvers, signature in your repertoire. Have you made some changes in the off-season? Do we expect to see anything different that we haven't seen before?
For the most part, I'm going to keep everything the same, except, I do have a few new submissions on the technical side. I'm not going to talk much about, but I did step my technical game up, so that's all I've changed, but...
One final question, and I kind of had to be, it's seemingly virgin territory because there was a big story this weekend going on, and someone had mentioned it online, so I'm going to try and be, kind with this final question. But what's your all-time favorite Whitney Houston song?
All-time favorite, let's see here.
Well, first off, I gotta say, are you related at all to Whitney Houston?
No, we are not related.
Okay.
But all-time favorite song, I'm gonna have to say, "I Will Always Love You."
Can't top that, ladies and gentlemen. Hardcore Houston loves Whitney Houston. I don't want to play the irony card, but that's just amazing, man. Mike Houston, the #1 contender. Marvelous Mike, Hardcore Houston. He's changed a lot in the last year, and we expect to see a lot of that change coming on St. Patrick's Day, when the HWA Championship is on the line as he challenges Brian Phoenix for the biggest prize in the Hybrid Wrestling Alliance. I'm going to have you get back to your training regiment, and all I got to say here, going back to his roots, he was a trampoline wrestler. This is how he grew up. And all I got to say is good luck.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm sure the fans will cheer for you as big as they will for Brian Phoenix. So for Mike Houston, who's going back to his training, Skeeter Moxley, we'll talk to Brian Phoenix a little bit later on in the week. For HWA Wrestling Online, we will see you at the House of Hybrid on March 17th.